Tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Talk for the Wild Card Weekend in the NFL is here. Oh boy, and it is ready. It's hot. It's steaming hot. Get ready. Before we get to the episode, I want to remind you, if you want to see me doing live stand-up comedy, I have dates. January 24th, I am at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank, California, 7:30 p.m. February 7th, I'm at the Pueblo Brewery in Pasadena, California. And February 17th, I am in Venice Beach, California. So you have chances to come out and see a show. Hey, I put up a new Running It Back interview this week. Nate Welch, comedian, joins me in studio for an interview. Go check it out. We had a great talk. Today on the show, Omar Carmona is here. We talk a very, very surprising wild card weekend. Highs, lows, surprises, and one hellacious Dallas destruction. It's all here. It's wild card weekend. It's time to kick it into high gear. Wow. It's the Sunday Night Talk for a wild card weekend. And we go now. All right, it is Sunday night. It is 8:29 West Coast time recording this. Omar Carmona joins me. It was super wild card weekend. We just watched Rams lose to the Detroit Lions. It took us all weekend, but we finally got a good game. And it was pretty good. It got a little emotional there in the Detroit Stadium, which I oddly found very, very enjoyable.
It was
really
good,
nice.
It was the only good game to watch for the weekend, football-wise.
It really was. Like, we went through the whole weekend and every single game got away from the other team. Nothing was really exciting. It seemed like we were digging for storylines in every single game. We had the biggest blowout I don't think anybody saw coming. No one would have predicted that blowout.
A little different that it was Packers-Cowboys playoff weekend, and it didn't really feel like it.
It didn't, because every pregame show I watched, I think almost everybody unanimously picked the Cowboys. Even though the Packers had a good last 4 weeks of the season, it didn't feel like they were a good team. I don't think anybody fully bought into them that they were a good team. And they came in and they were head and heels above Dallas. And Dallas played their worst game of the year. Dak had it was just a mess from the start, and no one would have picked that. We still have 2 games to go tomorrow, but I don't think anybody would have picked that it would have been that game. That would have been our dud of the weekend. So surprising in that regard. Like, here's my question, just opening weekend of wildcard games to you, Omar. Bigger disappointment, Dallas or Miami this weekend?
It has to be Dallas. Because you know, last week at the Ring of Honor, or 2 weeks ago at the Ring of Honor ceremony for Jimmy Johnson, you know, people were talking about that mid-90s feel, you know, the Cowboys and the 49ers. This is, you know, we're back to the golden age of that rivalry. And you know, I was there the last game was 42-10. I thought they were on the collision course for another NFC title game. Okay, for sure. I was locked on that pick, okay? And I just thought, yeah, maybe this is going to be the rebirth of that once classic rivalry, and they just stunk up the joint today. I mean, and Micah Parsons, they belong nowhere close to any field San Francisco's on.
I don't know how, as a Cowboys fan or as a football fan in general, how you don't think come Monday morning that this team could be drastically different from a coaching aspect a week.
I don't think Jerry Jones, you know, when he was giving all the good signs that, you know, we're building something great here, I think he was saying that not envisioning this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't be surprised if people lose jobs tomorrow morning.
I totally agree. I think the defensive coordinator's head could be on the chopping block. I think Mike McCarthy has 1 year left on his deal, I was hearing. So Boy, you want to go another year like this? There is a lot
Here's
of coaches out there
And
right
that's
now.
what I was saying. We're getting a bunch of college coaches that it looks like their time in college, because of, that's a whole other show, the NIL, and what's good, what that I think it's true, what I think did to Nick Saban, him having to leave Alabama this week. But now we have Belichick, we have Harbaugh floating around.
Hmm.
There's always going to be two or three college names. There's always going to be, four or five coordinators. Um, and so I it's going to be very interesting. You got teams like, even though they put up another stinker too in the Dolphins, but you got young coaching staffs like in the one in Miami, in Houston, in San
Hmm.
Francisco, and even Green Bay, and Los Angeles Rams, that these are young assistants, and I think that owners are taking notice of the success these younger, you know, motivational play callers are doing. So don't be surprised if McCarthy's going to lose his job, it has to be done tomorrow, because Jerry Jones has to get in the front of that line to get the best hire.
I just I just can't believe that a seasoned NFL coach would have put that team out on the field today, because that game was over pretty quickly. The Packers go down and score that opening drive touchdown pretty easily.
Oh,
Cowboys punt, Packers touchdown, Cowboys punt, Packers touchdown. It's 20-0, and you're like, oh my God. And you're like, all right, well, then you start doing the math as a fan. All right, well, they get a touchdown here. They're gonna get the ball back at the second in the third quarter. Hey, you know what? Your one score. Oh wait, Dak pick six. And you're like, oh my God, this is horrendous. Dallas can't move the ball at all. The Packers are having their way with it, with them on defense. And then the Cowboys get a little something going in the second half, but I mean, the defense could not stop the offense of the Packers. I just can't believe they were this inept. And I'll give them a little credit, like they fought to the end, but it was far too late. I don't know what's going on with this Cowboys team, and I'm with you. I think Jerry Jones is like almost like flip a coin. He's got 1 year left on the contract. Why don't I look for the coach I want? If I can get him, great, I'll fire him. If I can't, fine, I'll give him this last year on the contract, and I don't care what he does. I'm fired after this. It was bad. Do you have Cowboys fans in your life that you got to experience their
yes, I
just
got a lot of
sheer
texts. Your uncle,
distraught?
your uncle and father were texting me today.
Uncle
Um,
Ray, who was famously on the show 2 weeks ago.
well, we had it out, right? Is it safe to say we had it out?
Yes, you did with my uncle. Yeah, he
But
sent me a text just like I think like an hour ago, and it just said, "What a bunch of chokers."
yeah,
I don't know if they choked though, Omar. I just think they showed up just so ill prepared, and I think they got down 20-0, and they didn't have enough in them to like really mount like I like all the players on Dallas's team. I like them all. I just don't know why they can't get over these weird humps. Maybe it's a Dallas curse we got going. Did you see Jimmy Johnson at halftime?
yes.
Jimmy Johnson is pissed off at halftime, and he's trying to yell at the Cowboys through the screen. I'm like, oh my God, Jimmy Johnson is not liking what he's seeing. I can't imagine what it was like for Cowboys fans today, because that was brutal to watch. To watch a young quarterback who was dead in the middle of the season. The Raiders beat this team, Omar, beat the Packers. To just go into your home field and put up, what do they put up? 48 points?
Yep.
Unbelievable. Disappointing. And you
Hey,
thought they
and
were going
and
to the
and
NFC
and
Championship.
do we have a Jordan Love Star is Born storyline throughout the rest of the playoffs?
Yeah. It was big day for Jordan Love. The guy looked unstoppable. Like every time Dallas put a blitz on him, they would get 2 steps away from him, and then he would just do the off the back foot pass to somebody. And then the Packers had two you can't even say wide open. There was nobody in the screen where Jordan Love put 2 balls on these receivers, one for a touchdown, one for like a huge gain. And you're like, where is the Dallas defense? Like, no one is
Is
near this
is
receiver.
is Jordan Love, could he be eligible for a comeback player of the year? Is it really
Right, Kenny?
I don't know. But but people were writing him off. They were talking
Hmm.
about how disappointing it was that Aaron Rodgers was gone, and that people didn't see enough in Love when remember, because there were a few seasons that Aaron got hurt.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and he lost some significant time, and wow, it just seemed like Jordan Love took a huge beating from a lot of people saying, Favre, Rodgers, not Love, and
Yeah.
so you feel good for him, and very improved performance. I think right now the darlings of the NFL are Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, right?
Yeah.
They're just,
Big weekend for the young QBs
yeah,
this
for sure.
weekend. Aaron Jones, big game on the ground as well.
Yep.
He's wearing a mirrored Oakley's on the sidelines too when he's coming off. That was really big. I was really shocked at this score. I couldn't believe it. I almost think that the NFL, like, we shouldn't start taking stats until week 6 in the NFL because like, it's almost like we got to it throws off the curve when we say, like, oh, the Packers were at the bottom of the division at week 5. Like, yeah, but throw all that out. The season's too long. So I almost think we should amend our stats to really know what we're dealing with. I couldn't believe it. Now, what do you think? What do you think about Dak? Do you Is there room to make a change? He did not look good in this game. There's something about his throwing motion looked bad in
Patrick,
this game even.
Patrick, he will not. And I sent this text out to your uncle, to Uncle Ray.
Oh no.
The Uncle Ray I'm looking at right now,
Oh God.
telling him that his team is a fraud. But
Oh jeez. It's funny because all week we've been saying, is Miami a fraud? Is Philadelphia a fraud?
we
Who
we
knew
didn't
we were
think
had to
we
say
didn't think we'd be
Cowboys?
calling that we didn't think we'd be calling the Cowboys a fraud.
I think everybody picked the Cowboys to win this game. Do you know anybody was
Patrick,
picking the
I
Packers?
I
I
I, I
don't.
don't think since their last title run, and remember there was a year I think that they went what maybe 14-2 I think with Terrell Owens and Tony
Right.
Romo
Hmm.
and they got the number one seed, and I don't even think there was that much Super Bowl buzz in that team that there was in this team,
Yeah.
um and so it's just again, I do not think that Jerry Jones thought that by the end, when he woke up this morning, that by the end of the day, he may be looking for a new coach.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you were to just have Jerry Jones write down his thoughts at the beginning of the day and then his thoughts at the end of the day, how different of a mindset would that have gone from? Because he had to think, like, we have a team that can go to the Super Bowl here. You've seen how good this team can play. We can
He
go to the Super
he
Bowl, and they go out here and
Patrick,
they're
he
horrible.
already had San Francisco calendared in 2 weeks from today. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
just got that feeling.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think maybe, I mean, I'm so curious to hear your thoughts, how you think the matchup is going to be Packers 49ers, but maybe the Packers have just been this buzzsaw the last
Hey,
month of the season
I
where it's
so
like,
let me.
seat us anywhere.
I know
We're going to
you're
run
gonna.
through this bracket.
I have no proof to offer you or the show, obviously, right now, but I did say, I did tell a friend of mine, a parent at the basketball game today, who is a Packers fan, and his son is, and I told him, I said, you know what? This is not the same Packers Cowboys game, and I think that is to the Packers' benefit today.
Hmm.
Uh, this wasn't the same Packers Cowboys classic type feel, and I think that benefited Jordan Love. They had nothing to lose.
Yeah, the Packers went in definitely with nothing to lose. It's almost like they were the looser of the two because of that. Like, we saw that in a few games this weekend. It's almost like, take your pick of what was the most disappointing in Dallas. You're like, oh, Dak sucked. No, he didn't. The defense was worse. We can go all different directions here with the Dallas. What do you think about Dak's future, though? I guess it would depend on the coach. Say they get a different coach, then you got to ask them, like, is Dak your guy? And if not, then you go shopping around, because there's a lot of people who would want Dak, to be honest.
Dak Prescott is not going to be a Super Bowl quarterback.
Yeah. I
Okay.
well, I think that's a safe statement now. Yeah.
He's not going to bring a title to Dallas.
Yeah. Well, do you think he stays in Dallas though? Is my question.
I mean, financially, they're committed to him. I mean, it's a terrible contract to get rid of
Yeah,
at this point.
they'd have to eat a lot of the contract.
And you know, and if Jerry Jones shows up and making phone calls to other GMs saying, "Hey, we'd like to shop Dak," you know they're not going to give him. They're not going to give you what you paid.
No, 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 they'd have to eat a good portion of the contract, but I mean, we've seen in the past like that doesn't seem to bother some owners. Hell, Mark Davis is 80 million on the line for coaches that aren't even coaching the team. So it sounds like they would keep him. You think he'll be back in the Dallas uniform next year?
I think so, but I don't understand. I mean, do you draft a quarterback? Is
Mm-hmm.
it time to draft a quarterback?
Right. Draft or trade. They're not going to get a high enough draft pick to get one of the the blue
They're not gonna
chippers,
be
so
able
they'd
to
have to
they're not
trade
gonna be able
for
to
it.
trade for you
Yeah.
can't trade for a quality starter at this point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um,
It's going to take some doing for sure. If you were to say, all right, we got to make a change
I
at
mean,
quarterback. The other thing, CD Lamb too was not in this game till the second half.
let's look at where Matt Stafford was 3 years ago. Okay. And then remember within that time he won a Super Bowl. Who would be that quarterback that the Dallas Cowboys can say, all right, who's this guy, this veteran guy that we can bring in? I don't know if there's one that's out there right now.
Yeah, yeah. If they were to say, yeah, who's an experienced quarterback that's out there in the market that we can bring in? Like, who are the options? Cousins. Um, who's another guy?
But even Stafford, I think, was
Stafford.
head above heels better than Kirk Cousins.
He was.
Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you try to trade Dak Prescott and try to get a young quarterback? Who's a young quarterback that's on a rookie contract right now? Brock
yeah.
Purdy. You know,
Justin Fields.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just not going to get a lot from you know.
This is going to be one of those things where every member of the Dallas personnel staff is getting a message in their inbox tonight. It says office 8 a.m. meeting. And it's like, all right, let's start talking. Who do we want to
Bring
keep? Who do we want to acquire? Like, let's start putting the pieces on the table right now because
everyone
this is bad.
a mass text that says everyone 8 o'clock Cowboy headquarters. Everyone bring a small moving box.
Oh, well, that's the firing text. I'm talking the personnel text. Are like, let's start making moves. Oh boy, that would be bad.
I don't think that's a meeting. I think that's Jerry Jones in his head. I don't think that's a meeting. He's just going to do that.
You think he's a one man show?
I absolutely do.
Maybe yeah, you might be right. It might be right. It's like I'm the only one that can right this ship.
Right.
It was ugly. It was an ugly one. Like speaking of disappointments, you had Miami, which I can't help but blame some of the weather in this, but Miami was another one that
Patrick,
really
if you
didn't show
take
up.
that speed, you have made arguably the four fastest play. I mean, these are was it Arshane, well,
Who?
whatever, the
Oh,
running
Achan.
back, Arshan,
Oh,
right?
Achan and Mostad. Yeah,
And
were
Mostert.
Mostad. Yeah.
And then you have Waddle and Tyreek Hill. These four could arguably qualify for an Olympic, you know,
Yeah.
4x100. Okay, arguably.
hmm
Um, and and if you put them on a brick of ice, okay, in the fourth coldest game in NFL history, automatically you've taken away one of their biggest weapons, and they were still able to hit a home run with the
One time. Yeah, they got Tyreek
Tyreek.
once.
That was and Tyreek, man, he put moves on there that you would not think he was walking on ice. But uh, it just played into the Chiefs' favor, and I think the Chiefs' defense definitely showed up.
Yeah, they did. All the more reason to hit back at the Dolphins and say like, "See, man, you could have been at home for the playoffs.
Right.
You could have won one of those games."
How do
Uh,
you see the Chiefs moving forward?
I think the Chiefs look strong. That being said, I mean, when we talk about this game, I don't know if you can blame some of the weather, but something looks off with Kelsey. I don't know if we're going to discover he has an injury or something, but he's not a big threat. They don't double him anymore. Mahomes had some Mahomes magic to get the Chiefs over. Like the score
Man,
was not that big a blowout, but like this was a blowout. The
we
Dolphins couldn't
talk
do
about
anything.
speed. There was that what was it like a 3rd and 14 that he just ran, and then I
Yeah,
think there was
that's
even
some Mahomes
a
magic.
long 4th down run that he went on.
Yeah. The 3rd and 14 was big, and he's taken on tacklers, and it was it was a pretty good show for him. And I think that you can't discount these conditions. So I don't know if we saw the true Chiefs team, but I felt like they were up to the task. Still dropping balls. There's still a few drops in here, but the defense, you're right, I think was the bigger star of this because they shut Miami could do anything. They were doing absolutely nothing, and they looked affected by the weather. Tua's on the sideline with like 3 jackets over his head, and Mahomes has his helmet off and he's still like giving the pep talks and stuff. Like he's unaffected by it. I don't think you can discount that. And that kind of led me into this question going into the playoffs in general. Like, who is this in playoffs the most important to? And my answer was, I think this is the Mahomes legacy playoffs. Like this is the Kobe Bryant attitude Mahomes, where he just will not let this team lose. It's like, all right, you want to drop a ball? Okay, I'm going to put it on you. We're going to gain 30 on this play. Oh, it's 3rd and 14. You're all covered. I'm going to run. I am not letting this team lose. And if we talk about Mahomes' legacy, he's won 2 Super Bowls. So now, are you going to fade away into a great 5, 6 year run? Or are you going to be one of the all time greats? And you need that third and then a fourth in there somewhere to be in that conversation, I think. This is the Mahomes year for making a real stamp on his name in the league as an all-timer. Who do you think this playoffs is the most important to?
Ooh, that's so hard for me to say. I mean, I think it's so important right now for for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
because I think this is one year, but it's up. I mean, yeah, you have the Ravens and 49ers, I think that are the favorites to be in the Super Bowl, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the Mahomes legacy that I just said.
Yeah, I,
I
I
mean, this
agree. I
is
agree.
this is the most important for him is, do I want to be elite? Can I be in the list of elite quarterbacks? And for quarterbacks, it's got to be that third Super Bowl. I mean, we've seen many quarterbacks win one and some two. Eli Manning won two. We don't talk about him as the elite quarterback. The Bradys, the Montanas, the Aikmans all have that third and beyond Super Bowl.
Right.
So that's what I think. And I just don't think he's going to let this team lose.
Yeah, correct.
All right, let's talk about the games themselves. In true tradition, the early Saturday wildcard game was Cleveland at Houston. I thought this was going to be a better game, 45-14. I think most of the people pick Cleveland. Houston comes in and looks awesome. Should we have been surprised by this result?
Ah, I did not think, well, obviously 2 back-to-back pick sixes. That
Mhm.
adds 14 points to that huge score, okay? Um,
Mhm.
but still, I mean, Houston just did not struggle with what was supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber defense,
That's
right?
the other thing. We saw the number one defense in the league, Cleveland, lose. We saw the number one offense in the league, Miami, lose. It was maybe we shouldn't take stats until week 6 of the season. I was surprised that Houston was this good. Another team that's riding like a end of the regular season wave. Like CJ Stroud looked like a veteran out there. There's nowhere he can't put the ball. I
Right.
was really impressed by that.
Can we say, we should circle back before the playoffs. I mean, before the Super Bowl, and talk about CJ Stroud may have put together the best rookie performance, string of games if he follows it up with a good game next week.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like, there's going to be a lot of CJ Stroud talk this week. Like, we're going to hear everything from how great a leader he is, and well, just look at his last month in the NFL. And Houston was running on the Browns as well. It was really, really impressive. But I mean, the dam broke with that Flacco pick six, and I think we knew that Flacco was going to be a liability for one or two passes a game, but we just relied on the defense to bail them out and be like, oh, he's going to throw 6 great passes, but 4 bad ones. But the defense, like, we kind of thought that. But I thought it was funny. He throws the pick six to the Texans. And then the announcers say, oh, this is why you want that veteran quarterback, is he can shake off a pick six and come back. He threw a pick six on the very next series. It's almost like announcers, you can jinx the quarterback by saying these things. It was like clockwork. It's like, let me throw another pick six right after you give me a compliment. It was unbelievable. I was a little disappointed the Texans didn't wear their red helmets and jerseys for this home playoff game. They just went with the traditional blue, but maybe they still have a shot at it. Okay, now the next question. How scary is this Texans team?
Patrick, nobody wants to play the Houston Texans, to include the Baltimore Ravens, to include the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with Pittsburgh tomorrow, but I mean, there's no one in this AFC is anything but an awesome team. Every single one of these teams is a threat. The question is if you can put it together 2 weeks in a row. But if you were to say this was the number one defense and look what the Texans did to them, that was unbelievable. I mean, CJ Stroud can put the ball anywhere. He's durable. Very, very impressive playoff win there for the early AFC wildcard. 45-14. I didn't see it being that much of a blowout. The 2 pick sixes in a row certainly helped, but I never felt Cleveland was in this game.
It was, and you felt bad for the what's it called? The Joe Flacco experiment to be over.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I kind of wanted it to keep running for some reason, just because I was becoming a fan of this story. I thought it was cool that Joe Flacco and the head coach of the Houston Texans once played each other.
Yes.
Because he was a linebacker or something for the Colts. Yeah. There's pictures of him. I thought that was pretty cool. Houston moves on, looks really, really good. And then we go to the night game, the Peacock game, Miami at Kansas City. Big disappointment for Miami. So did you already have Peacock, or did you download it for this game?
I had Peacock.
You had it.
But I was not happy. I thought it was a very big power move that Jerry Jones did this on Taylor Swift game night,
What do you mean? What did Jerry Jones do?
No, I'm sorry, not Jerry Jones. Roger Goodell. I'm sorry.
Taylor Swift night. To make us all get the app. I'm with you. I had Peacock too, but I've never actually like watched a game and like put it on the TV before. And it froze a couple times. I will say that. Like, I had a couple freezes, then it would come back a few seconds later. I thought there was a little bit of a chance to give us an extra feature, though, with this online, because I watched the national championship game last week on ESPN, but I saw there was a feed. It was called like Skycam feed or something. And it was really cool. It had 2 screens, and it had the regular game picture. It had a shot from behind the quarterback so you could see all the players. And it had a shot of each coach, and it had the stats in the middle. So you had all these things to look at in one screen. I thought Peacock could have done something like that, and that would have been a nice addition. That being said, we had Mike Tirico and Jason Garrett calling this game. Do we honestly think Chris Collinsworth was going to go to -4 Kansas City? No way. That was a flex, right?
Right.
He was like, nah, man, you send Garrett. I'm not going to that. I'm going to read you Jason Garrett's quote of keys to the game. Are you ready for this?
All
I don't
right,
know if
let's
you
do
heard
it.
this. The team that handles the ball the best will win the game. Jason Garrett. Okay, now that we know the answer to now we know the result of do you think the team that handled the ball best won this game, Omar? What is this guy talking about? I'm texting you during the game. Like, has Jason Garrett ever seen a football game?
That's why he's no longer a coach, and he's not going to be a commentator too much longer either.
I hope not, but I don't know, Omar. I think like maybe he's just such a company man that NBC's like, yeah, throw Garrett on there. Throw Garrett on there. He'll do it. He can say words. There was a point where I think it was the end of the first half where Miami has the ball like on their own 10 and there's like 40 seconds left. And Garrett says, at this point, you're getting the ball the second half. Just take a knee, get in there, warm up, come back out. And Miami throws a deep ball. They like get to the 30. And then Garrett goes, hey, just sling it. I'm like, what happened to your first statement 2 seconds ago? You just change your mind? I don't know what the drive for keeping Garrett in there like that. It's insane. I don't know what he's talking about ever.
I agree.
Uh,
To me, he's just a silly person.
yeah, and then that's the other thing. Like, this guy coached a football team. how
Right.
how is that possible? This guy was the head coach of a major football team for multiple years. The only thing the Dolphins did in this game was that, like you said, that deep pass to Tyreek, which was not a great pass by Tua. Tyreek adjusts to the ball. He gets interfered with. He still catches it and he scores. It was 10-7 at that point. I mentioned how I thought something looked wrong with Kelsey this whole game. Should we take any solace in the fact that Miami has 6 starters on defense out? I think that's something to think about. It was like, we were depleted. We were on the road. We did have a bad end to the season. There's still things to build on here. And like you said, they're young. So I think there's reason to believe like this overall season, we can look at it as a positive, even though it ended like this.
Right. I think that Miami will be in contention in the AFC East next year for sure.
The other thing I liked from watching this game, what I kind of like as a fan, I like when I'm watching a really cold football game and I'm inside. Like I'm comfortable and warm, but I'm watching them put on the jackets, wear the hoodies, looking at the fans all frozen. Andy Reid's mustache is frozen as well. I really liked it. I liked hearing all the technology of what they're using on the sidelines to keep warm. Like there was a lot of cool stuff from an equipment standpoint that you could like kind of talk about and do stories on. They also sent some sideline reporter I'd never seen before. They had her all bundled up on the side there, giving little reports of what the players were using. Somehow Andy Reid just had a ball cap on. It's -4 degrees. Andy Reid has a ball cap on.
Right.
I think some people are just built differently when it comes to the cold.
And his mustache was developing icicles on it.
His mustache had icicles on it. At one point, they showed it. He didn't have gloves on either. I think he puts them on later, but like he was handling his little laminated sheet with no. I think Andy Reid's just built different.
He is.
Some players on Miami needed like 5 jackets, and Andy Reid's out there in just his starter jacket and a ball cap. Unbelievable. Even Mahomes' helmet breaks, and Mahomes is like, I just need a new helmet. Just get me out there. We talked about Green Bay, Dallas, and the disappointment that was. Jimmy Johnson is pissed off at the end of at the halftime. He was mad. Like I thought he was going to do one of those things where like your teacher, your coach, or your dad starts yelling at you so much that he starts crying. I thought Jimmy Johnson was going to do the cry yell at some point to the Cowboys. Like he is that mad. Oh my God. This game had everything, a blowout, a meltdown. We even had a little fight at the end of it. That was rough. That was rough for Dallas.
It wasn't, but thankfully it's over for them.
Oh my God. Yeah, really. If you know your season's going to end poorly, Dallas, might as well rip the Band-Aid off in the wild card round. Just everything was wrong with that Dallas game. And then that leads us into tonight's game, LA Rams at Detroit. Collinsworth miraculously back for this game. And we had so many storylines, all the Detroit celebrities that are at this game. This is the first time they've had a playoff game at home since 1991. And I got to say, both teams look really fucking sharp in this game. The offenses specifically. Like Detroit comes out, they look awesome on the ground, in the air, and then Stafford's like, "All right, hold on, I'm just gonna hit Nakua for about 12 different times in this game," and they look really good. They, which leads us to this last possession, this last offensive possession for the Rams. The Rams had the ball. I wrote it down. 7:18 left on the clock. They're down one. Stafford has a lot of passes in this game where his receivers get blown up, where he's leading Nakua over the middle, he's leading Cup over the middle, and they're just getting destroyed. Some of them hang on, some of them don't. But it's third down. It's 3rd and 4. They're like flirting with field goal range. They're like on the 35. The Rams throw a 2-yard pass for a loss, but there's a holding call. So now Detroit has the opportunity to say, we decline it. 4th down from the 36. They accept the penalty. It's now 3rd and 14. They have an incomplete pass. It could have been a PI call. They don't call it. They punt it. They never get the ball back. That was their last possession. These two critical plays, 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 14, sunk it for the Rams. But give it to Detroit because they held the ball and ran out the clock on offense by throwing the ball. Like, they didn't run it. They couldn't run it really that well, but they threw the ball and they were completing it. Like, if they had thrown incompletes, we would have roasted them like Mike McCarthy did 3 weeks ago. But they were up to the challenge. Is there anything that Detroit didn't do right in this game, do you think?
You know, they're a gritty team. I thought this, I mean, I'm glad this was the best game. I'm glad we finished the weekend, a bad weekend, on at least on a high note. I know we got 2 games tomorrow, but Detroit does scare me too. I think that they're definitely in contention for a Super Bowl appearance.
I'm with you. I'm really glad this was the nightcap or Sunday night because it was so cool to see the Detroit fans. And NBC did a good job of finding like the old dude who's been season ticket holders for 40 years, find all the former players that were out there on the sideline. And then there was a couple spots, I'm pretty sure it was in this game, where Tirico and Collinsworth just are silent and they just let the first couple plays play out. I thought that was really cool to see, just like, let's get a feel for this game and how the fans are reacting. Really, really good capper to it. And I think Goff was like one question away in the post-game interview from crying. Because he's like, yeah, I was run out of LA. This team took me in. We developed me. And look at this. We won a playoff game. And we're going to be back here next week for another playoff game. I thought Melissa Stark, if she pushed, she could have got him to cry. I would have enjoyed that, you know? It makes me a little nervous that they got their big playoff win and they feel like the pressure's off and they're not going to be on their game. There's that aspect that we can worry about a little bit as well. But I think they're too well coached, too good a team to have that happen. So they look very, very scary. What's your threat level with Detroit?
Okay. So if I understand correctly, we for sure know it's San Francisco, Green Bay next week.
Correct. Yes.
Which means that's Saturday at 8 o'clock, 8 Eastern, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm throwing this out there right now. I may be in attendance.
Really?
I'm gonna look into it, but I'm thinking if I want to save it for a possible run at the championship game. I think it'd be super cool to see a Detroit game in San Francisco. But I'm only thinking about it, Patrick.
Oh my God. This is breaking news on the show.
I got spontaneous Carmona, we got
right. Wow. Is that right?
We're still wearing sunglasses at night.
Yeah, you still never got your prescription glasses. You're just wearing your sunglasses.
Okay, so I did get them, and they will be hopefully in by Tuesday.
Wow, this might be a whole new look for you too. So you're thinking you might want to go to Green Bay, San Francisco.
Yes.
So are you thinking like, I'm just showing up solo? I'm booking a Southwest flight, and I'm showing up. What's the thoughts in your head right now?
There are some friends, just 49er friends that have from here, El Paso, that have gone in the past. I have been invited in previous years, and I've never gone. And I think, this time of transition and excitement in my life, it may be time to do something crazy and and go catch a game. And but I think I'd much rather see a Detroit 14. I think that would be a freaking cool game.
Yeah, yeah, that really, really would.
I
That would
mean,
be
I think that the
huge.
uniform contrast when you're talking blue and silver, what's the contrast? Red and gold, you know?
Red and
It's
gold,
the
blue and silver, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We could have Detroit as the potential. What's the other NFC team that could be? Oh, Philly or Tampa Bay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
Detroit would
don't
be the pick.
again, I will get to the predictions in a little bit. I still think Detroit's gonna beat either of those two teams.
Yeah, I would agree at this point. If wildcard weekend has taught us anything, it's never to fully invest in any of your favorite picks. But I would agree. Seeing that we at least have a sample size of first week in the NFL, I would agree. Detroit looked really, really strong. If I were to pick our most impressive teams of the weekend, Detroit and Houston, I almost don't want to say the Packers because I feel like Dallas was at fault for most of that game, but they were impressive. But would you say Detroit and Houston were the most impressive teams of the weekend?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think they can beat anybody. And because they're so good offensively and defensively.
Yeah. All right, I agree. Last note on the Detroit game. I don't know if you caught this quote from Chris Collinsworth. I didn't put it in my best quote awards, but I thought it was worthy of reading. Mike, you live in this area. Give me some idea of what this means. So apparently Chris Collinsworth outs Tarico. He lives in Detroit, I guess. And he just sort of puts Tarico on the spot. And Tarico gives a really good answer of what it means to be in Detroit and have this. I thought that was a good quote, that Chris Collinsworth just throws it out there. The other thought I had for getting rid of Jason Garrett, can we just zoom in Chris Collinsworth to these games he doesn't want to go to? Or screw it, we kicked Al Michaels out of the playoffs, but we could still zoom him in, right? Who cares? You don't have to be in the same room. Garrett is insane. I just can't believe this guy calls football games. It's nuts. I was rewatching a bunch of old wildcard games on YouTube this weekend. Like, I feel like that's what I have to do to prep. And you know what I kind of miss is the three-man commentator booth. Remember we'd have three people. There's no three-man commentator booth anymore. It's all two
No,
people.
that's a thing of the past.
Yeah, I kind of would like a three-man commentator booth. I watched I told you I watched the college championship, and they do this thing where they threw Pat McAfee in the booth once, and then they had him on the field calling plays with two of his buddies. It was weird, but I still like the option. I think ESPN had a thing where you could click it and listen to that feed. I was like, yeah, let me check that out for a little bit. The Manning cast as another option, pretty wild. I don't think there's anything you can't do in the commentating, which makes me wonder why the hell is Jason Garrett calling games? Tarico was really the workhorse of this weekend, I got to say, doing two games in 2 days. Very impressive, Mike Tirico. And one of them in -4 degree temperature. Maybe he should have won the week.
I think if you survive that game, you won the week.
I love that cold game. You get to see everyone's cold weather strategy. And the announcers always tell you, we're not in a booth, we're open air. And at one point, they did a shot of where the booth actually is in the stadium. And Jason Garrett and Tarico were the booth right above the luxury suite that Taylor Swift was in. So you could actually see, their windows are totally open. They're exposed. I'm sure they've got all these heaters on them. But, if you got that thing up to 32 degrees, that would be a big gain. And it'd still be 32 degrees. I love cold weather games, Carbota.
Oh, it's the best part of
It's
this time
brutal.
of year.
Were you okay with them moving the Buffalo game? I thought they had no other choice.
They had no choice for the safety of
Yeah.
the fans. I
Yeah,
think
we
that
would not have wanted to see a game like that anyway. That wouldn't have been anywhere near resembling a football game.
no, it would have been terrible. I mean, I think you and I have always appreciated snow on the field because I remember growing up when we played Madden 93 or 92, we loved setting it. We loved setting the field to snow. Remember when you
Always,
would
yeah.
set it, it just made it very slippery. Like your your
Mhm.
your your runner, like he couldn't cut. Barry Sanders
Mhm.
would instead of a cut, he just curved.
Right, right.
And and it was so hard to run a route on a long ball on a long bomb. But the field was always white. And I think we always appreciated the field being,
Yeah.
a bright white with the stadium lights. But no, I think that would have been. I think remember a few years ago was it I think it was Detroit and Philadelphia that played a game where it was just a few feet of
Oh,
snow.
yeah, in the regular season. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a regular season game, and Shady McCoy was like he was running, but the snow was to his knees. It's like
Yeah.
that wasn't
Yeah. For
fun.
the regular season, okay, hit or miss. Playoffs, yeah, I'm with you. Like, let's move it if we can because we need the best representation of the game. So I'm okay with moving it. The only hard part is I got to find some way I'm going to watch a game at 1:30 p.m. on a Monday. I got to figure out, like, can I watch this on my phone? Am I going to have to be near a TV? Is this going to be my lunch break? Is this when I'm going to watch? Am I just going to listen to it on the radio? I got to come up with some strategy now of how I'm going to watch it. But I'm with you. They had to move it. They had no other choice. And I don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow, but hopefully the field's clear enough and it's not conducive to a messy, messy game. Because if it's just a mess, then forget it. Any team could win this game.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's do the awards. That was Wild Card Weekend. We're going to predict and have our thoughts about the games tomorrow at the end of it. But let's do the awards because now we got some fun ones now that it's officially playoffs here. So, first award for Super Wild Card Weekend is Best Quote. I've got two nominees. I got number one. Do you notice some of the players have this thing on the back of their helmets and it just says "Be Love"?
Yes.
What does that mean? What
I
does
don't
"Be
even know.
Love" mean? I always find it funny when they put like "Be Love" or "Friendship" or "Freedom" on their helmets while they're like tackling a guy and throwing him into the field. "Be Love," and then I have the Jimmy Johnson quote from halftime, and it is, "I can't say what I'd like to say on television." That was Jimmy Johnson. Very hard to beat that quote. Those are my two nominees. I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson. What about you?
I am liking Jerry Jones's quote. He said two things right now after the game. One, I'm floored. It's like
Yeah,
it's
I
like
heard that.
it's like you're floored. But two, he
Yeah.
said that he has not given one thought to the Mike McCarthy, his future. He said he hasn't been even thinking about it. I said, yeah, that tells me he's already made up his mind. He ain't thinking about it anymore.
Oh, right. You could have thought of it that way. It's like, yeah, I haven't thought about it. Oh, why not? Because I decided in the third quarter I'm going to fire his ass.
That's how I interpreted it. So that was
Oh,
my
that's pretty
favorite.
good.
That
To
was
be
my
Jerry
favorite.
Jones, what is Jerry Jones? 79 years old?
I looked it up right now, actually. 81.
He's 81. To be Jerry Jones, be 81 years old and have something surprise you?
81 years old and
Wow.
28 years removed from his last Super Bowl title. I
Yeah.
honestly, I
Uh,
think just that line of that no, that statistic alone.
to be surprised at that age and to be that stature of a man. I mean, that's going to go on Mike McCarthy's tombstone. Mike McCarthy, I surprised Jerry Jones. You're like, wow, what did you do? Mike McCarthy. Next award, Hot Take Award. I got one, and this is coming off a very quiet week of no Aaron Rodgers quotes. So you know he's going to say something again this week. Like he can't be out of the limelight. He's going to take another shot at Jimmy Kimmel or something. I got a wild hot take that might be borderline conspiracy theory, Omar. I hope you're sitting down. Sit
Let's go.
down, put your glasses on. I think Aaron Rodgers faked his injury.
You think so?
I think he faked his injury. I think he saw the team was horrible. And he says, I don't want to be on this team for this year.
No.
And tell you what, I'm gonna play it that I recovered so fast. And if it's possible, I'll come back and play on this team the last month of the season. And I'll tell everybody I recovered so fast because I'm a miraculous athlete and I did good training techniques. That's my conspiracy theory is that he faked it just to be in the limelight in another way. Because get ready, he's going to say something to stay in the headlines for this playoffs. He can't stay away. Aaron Rodgers is if Stephen A. Smith was a professional athlete. He's going to have some hot take and he's going to try and troll you to get a reaction of it. I don't know why people get mad at him. I was like, this is what he does. This is,
I'm
I mean, this is his thing. Why do you get so mad? Like he's a brush fire. You're just breathing more oxygen into him. He keeps doing it. That's my hot take slash conspiracy theory.
I am more curious about why is it and talking about McAfee, what was that heel turn in one week that McAfee says, I'm glad that Aaron Rodgers is never coming on my show again. And then the next day he was on the show again.
Yeah, it's been a weird year in that media form too, right? Because I was listening to a few business entertainment industry podcasts, and ESPN wants to get the younger viewers. They want to get the viewers who watch things on streaming, not cable. So they get Pat McAfee, who built his own audience on YouTube. Now, interesting, they didn't buy the Pat McAfee show. They license it. So Pat McAfee
Right.
still owns
Pat
the show.
McAfee still has all creative
Mm-hmm.
and final say,
Right. And
which
then McAfee says something that they don't like. So, like, the first thing I say is, like, well, you knew what you bought, ESPN, when you got the McAfee show. So you shouldn't be that surprised. And then McAfee's pretty good on game day and stuff like that. I don't really know what McAfee does. I don't know if I find him really interesting. It's interesting when he has, Aaron Rodgers on and he acts crazy and stuff. But it just seems like McAfee is everywhere. Like, did you listen to his show before this? Were you a fan of his show or anything like that?
of
Of
McAfee's.
McAfee's show?
I've always found him very entertaining.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I could use 10% less McAfee because he's just kind of entertaining. He's just this new entertainment world of sports. But I can't say, I mean, I like when, like, the little 1 minute clips, I hear something, but yeah, I don't find him particular. Like, I don't go looking for his clips. They kind of pop up but I did find him interesting on College Game Day. It's a good addition that you would think, yeah, ESPN would go this route to get the younger viewers. I'm curious if he's going to be there next year, though.
Right.
What do you got for hot take? Got any hot takes this week?
Oh yeah. And
Oh,
I'm going for one that I've been wanting since 1993, Patrick.
oh,
And I think it's
you've
been
been
my hot.
sitting on a hot take for
No, because I
20
think I've
something
even I no, and
years.
I think I've said it in previous seasons on this show, but I'm thinking I may finally get it. I am finally gonna get my Bills 49ers Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Your hot take is we're going to have the Bills 49ers Super Bowl. It's possible. Is this the year where it was the most possible of a chance for that? Maybe. Oh, well, last year was a chance. It
Yeah,
could happen.
it could happen. I really do think this would be the Bills' last opportunity. I do because
Mm-hmm.
with this group, I don't know if McDermott comes back.
Mm-hmm.
It-
Yeah.
with and they've been in the playoffs, and I get it, and I just think that what is it, the Pegula family that owns the, because I think they also have a daughter that's a championship tennis stud player. Um,
Oh, really? The owner of
yeah,
the Bills family?
yeah. She's top ranked. But my thing is, I just think that they're gonna want results now.
Yeah. Say
And
they
I
go
think
full Dallas Cowboys tomorrow. Then,
when you have Josh Allen, who has now been, the first savior to a franchise since Jim Kelly, um, you have to win now.
mm,
And you have to build around Josh Allen. So when it comes to the coach and other pieces here and there, if Stephon Diggs becomes a problem, he's going to get moved. This is a team that's absolutely committed to
hot take.
to 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 Josh Allen.
Wow. You and Chris Berman from ESPN Primetime 1992. 49ers Bills.
There you go,
That's pretty
Swami.
hot.
The Schwam said it.
Tej, look, you got the Buffalo Bills. They can run. They can pass. Look, There's a lot of things they can do, but nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Back on the Blitz. Let me be the first to wish you and yours a happy holiday. Back on the Blitz. I would always hear them be like, "What do you mean? Let me be the first to wish you a like what is this? A contest? Just wish us happy holidays." Back on the Blitz. For years, I thought he was saying Blintz. I was like, "Why is he saying Blintz? Isn't it Blitz?" I don't know. All right, you know what? I skipped over trivia. Let's jump into trivia because this one's real quick this week, and then we'll go back to best innovation. All right, trivia. You know, we've been inundated with football for the last 6 months. So I thought I'd change it up on you. I want to ask you a non-football question. And before you answer, I already have my prediction on how many you're going to guess. Okay, take a break. We'll come back. Okay, coming back. Trivia, Omar. This week's trivia. How many professional hockey players can you name? And I've already made my prediction of how many you're going to guess. I got it right here. All right. How many professional hockey players can you name, Omar?
Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin. I think there's a Connor David, Connor McDavid.
I don't know that one. I'll have to look that one up.
There is. Did Patrick Kane retire?
Yeah, you can name all time.
Oh, all time?
Yeah, how many just professional hockey players all time?
Oh, I can name a ton.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Let's see how many you can name.
Oh, Wayne Gretzky, Yari Curry, Luke Robitaille, Brian Leach, Jeff Bukaboom, Mark Messier, Steve Larmer, Chris Chelios, Jeremy Roenick, Kelly Kissio. I mean, I could go. I mean, I could name hundreds.
Wow.
I used to love watching hockey. I just haven't.
Really?
Yes, I loved it. I loved it.
Wow. All right, so I got you down for 10 pretty easily here.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Are you ready to see how many I thought you would know?
Yes.
6. I thought you would get 6. You blew me out of the water.
Yeah.
The only ones I could think of that you left out were Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, Brett Hull.
I want to go Sergei Fedorov, Steve Yzerman, Peter Ford.
Yeah, you got Mark Messier. That was one that I knew.
Brett Hull.
Right. Yeah, all right. This was an easy one for you. I thought you were going to. Easy. Wow, you like hockey.
I could name you about 50 goalies.
Whoa.
I used to love it. You know what?
You could have went Gordie Howe too. You could have went old school.
I want to get back into it.
Back into hockey?
There's my post-football resolution.
Watching professional hockey. That's what you want to get into?
I want to check the standings and see who I'm liking. And
have you ever been to a professional hockey game?
Only minor league, and it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, you should. I've been to I think 2.
Yeah, I've been to the Rhinos here. I also went to the one in when I lived in San Antonio. I can't remember their names. But they're fun.
Yeah. All right, we got to go to a professional hockey game.
That'd be cool. I'd like to go to a Kings game.
Kings, yeah, we should go to a Kings game. That'd be cool. All right, that was trivia. Back to the awards. Where were we? Best innovation.
But I wouldn't want to get hit by a puck. That's the thing. I know I would go to my first game and I'd get hit by a puck in my first.
I think the net extends all the way up now, protecting the.
Possible.
Yeah, I think the net goes way higher than it did 10 years ago, because I think someone will get clocked in the head once or twice a season, and that puck fucking moves fast.
You can't see it coming.
Nah, no way. Yeah, you can't see anything. Kind of like baseball. Remember when they extended the foul net past first base because too many people were getting hit in the head by foul
it's balls? Amazing. It's like when we see soccer free kicks, like World Cup soccer, and every now and then there's a kick that just goes right into the crowd, and the crowd sees it coming, and it's even hard for them to move, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Ima-
You can't move your shoulder to shoulder with
right.
everybody.
Imagine a puck that that looks like
Mm.
a gnat, you know?
And it's not round. It's got four edges to it. It's going to hit you
Right.
in
And
the
you don't know if it's coming, if
head.
it's spiraling, if it's just
Yeah.
a flat, if it's curving.
I think the net goes all the way up now. So I think
Okay.
that the crowd is protected.
Okay. There. And then okay. Hey, then there's my innovation award. The net,
Mm.
the hockey. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. A hockey net, if it isn't innovated already. I got my best innovation award coming from the Chiefs game. How about the underground field heaters, where they've got these pipes underneath the field so the field doesn't freeze over?
Am I
Pretty
wrong?
good.
They've always had like,
They have, yeah.
in the Ice Bowl days, they had those,
Yeah,
right?
I think they always had it. It was just a question of if they covered the field and like the cover was sealed, because if you got any air in there, then it would get all fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
they figured this out in the 60s. So that way your field just isn't frozen, just cold. Next award, the cringeworthy award. I got,
Are we done with, or was that the only trivia we were gonna do?
yeah, that was the only trivia. It's hockey names.
Oh, nice. Okay.
See if I could guess how many you would get. You blew it out of the water.
Cringeworthy.
Cringeworthy award. I have Dallas defense in general.
I have the Dallas team.
Dallas team. Andy Reid's mustache. And the Geico K-Man ads that they're bringing back. I have not liked any of them. They're not hitting it for me.
I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes' helmet getting cracked.
Oh, that's pretty good.
During a hard hit.
Yeah, that was a good one. Like, it's cold out, cold plastic. His helmet broke like Darth Vader. That was pretty good. Best costume design. I got two. Taylor Swift's custom Travis Kelce jacket.
Who was made by the wife of Kyle Juszczyk of the San Francisco 49ers.
I went on her Instagram because I saw that, and she's got all this custom clothes that she's made for like players' wives and stuff.
It's pretty
Really
neat, right?
cool jacket. And then Brittany Mahomes had a Mahomes one right next to her. That jacket was awesome. It was a jersey that essentially made into a down jacket.
Right.
I wonder how cold it was in those booths, in those luxury boxes that Taylor Swift was in, because she still kept her jacket on and her hat. So it couldn't have been that warm. I wonder.
Really quick. I turned my screen. I have second screens over here. Pat, I've been a big fan of multiple monitors.
Yeah.
I set my 49ers wallpaper, and I'm digging this red glare. I got it at the house.
Oh, it's almost like you're a floating head now.
I kind of like that.
You know what? I don't want to step out of bounds here, but I think with a little bit of hair gel, you might be a dead ringer for a George Seifert.
Well done.
You know how he would kind of slick his gray hair back?
Yeah.
And you already got the glasses. You might be a George Seifert guy. It could be your thing. Other costume design nominee was Aaron Jones' mirrored sunglasses on the sideline, but I think Taylor Swift's custom jacket was
I'll
best
go
costume
with that. I'll
design.
go with
Yeah, that was
too.
awesome.
Only because it was made by a 49ers wife.
Oh, okay. Fair. Next award, Advice Alley.
Ooh.
And mine is half towards me. Is to just figure out streaming. We had the game on Peacock. Figure out if it's on your phone, on your computer, if it's on your smart TV. If it's not on your smart TV, how to cast it to your TV. Figure it out now. Is there any more Peacock games on for the playoffs? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I
But
think now just the networks have it they take it from here on out.
yeah. And like, give me a secondary option, Peacock, of how to watch the game. Like, give me just the Skycam feed. That'd be cool. That's my advice, Allie. What do you got? Do you have any advice for this week?
Mike McCarthy, Dan Quinn, you make sure that resume is up to date.
Type the resume tonight. Get your wives to type your resume
Yeah.
tonight. Put it in the Excel sheet.
Start picking up those interview ties and start picking up the game film you want when you go in for the interview. Start looking at all of that stuff. Just start preparing.
You know what, like a Dan Quinn should do? Because the NFL, how you have to hire or how you have to interview minorities now. apparently you have to interview people of different color skin because that is a barometer of your success. Dan Quinn should like just dig into his heritage and find which minority he could be a part of, and that way he could get some more interviews. Like, well, I'm a third generation Dutch settlers. Well, I should, and then he could get extra interviews for that. That's what he should do too. Otherwise, he's gonna be passed over.
Real something to look out for. Dan Quinn to the Seattle Seahawks. What would you think about that?
Interesting.
He was the architect of the Legion of Boom.
Right. Pete Carroll stepping aside may pave the way for a Russell Wilson return. Could happen. Sunday, double feature. I got one because we got a cold game tomorrow, possibly snow. We had a cold game, Kansas City. I got the movie Alive. A Uruguayan rugby team crashes in the Andes in the snow, and they have to survive for, I think they had to go like 72 days or something, and then they ate a dead body to stay alive. So I went with Alive.
I what I loved about one of my favorite movies. I've come to the realization. In fact, I think it was last night when I had this discussion with myself that I believe the greatest director of my time, at least in my opinion, it's Martin Scorsese. He's just an unbelievable director. And I am going to go with a Scorsese movie tonight. I'm doing The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, is that right? Wolf of Wall Street.
And I'm going to equate what's my football comparison? We're 49ers are coming in like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have been a rich man and I've been a poor man. And I choose rich every time. I'm not going. Just an insane DiCaprio 3 minutes there. Just this weird. He's giving this weird speech that somehow is like a brag about himself in this speech. Oh my God. It's insane. It is definitely if you were to say like, what was his season record? That was his 17-1 year.
Yes.
Like he did not miss much in that movie. What's your favorite Scorsese movie?
The Departed.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I'm with you. I like Departed. Didn't like the ending, but I liked The Departed. Did you see Killers of the Flower Moon?
Okay. Dude, that's a commitment. I tried last night. That's a 3.5-hour movie. So
movies can still be super long. Oppenheimer is like 3 hours. I'm like, all right, when it comes on, I gotta set aside a night for it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So you're a Scorsese guy, huh? I didn't know that about you.
I didn't realize it till recently.
Yeah. I didn't get into directors, I think, till like 10 years ago myself. Like I finally put together that a lot of the movies I liked were the same director. Like I didn't figure out all the Michael Mann series till later. I didn't figure out all the David Fincher movies till later. I was like, hey, you know what? These are the movies I like. Okay, that's the style I like. I was a very late bloomer on directors.
Right.
All right, that brings us to who won the week. I got young QBs, Lions fans, or Peacock of who won the week. I'm going to go Lions fans though. Like, did you see the shot of like the 3 guys crying in the stands? Like yes. I can't not give it to Lions fans this week. That was a great night. Also, like you get to watch your Detroit team indoors. You don't have to be in the cold. Great night to be a Lions fan.
And I'm going to say for me, who won the week? CJ Stroud. Well, a star is born.
That was pretty good. He had a great, and usually like that's early Saturday playoff game you forget about by Sunday morning. But we're still talking about it. That was an amazing performance. All right, that brings us to Monday night. Monday night has games this week, Omar. Unbelievable. Monday night, we've got an afternoon game, Steelers at Bills, and in the nightcap is Eagles at Bucks. I don't know if I'm particularly motivated for any of these matchups per se. I know I'm going to watch the games, but let's pick the games. Start with Steelers at Bills from snowy Orchard Park.
I am going to go, I think because of the snow, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I do see a 19-7 Bills win.
Do we know there's going to be snow on the ground?
I don't know. Is there?
I don't know. I think the storm might have been through already, and it's just going to be cold.
Just
All right,
cold?
we'll have to,
Okay,
we'll have to wait and see. I'm with you. There's no way I'm picking Mason Rudolph
Yeah,
in
I'm
a
not doing
playoff
that.
game on the road. Like, if we were to pick one game this week, to be like, give me your lock, I think it's got to be Steelers Bills. I go Bills 27, Steelers 6. Steelers
Okay.
have not been good all year, at least in any traditional sense.
Right.
So give me the Bills. Eagles at Bucks. The Eagles have just basically been on the ropes for a month, and the Bucks were hot for a couple of weeks. What do you think? Do you think the Bucks have a shot in this game?
Do the Bucks have a shot? Absolutely. I think the Bucks may win.
Really? How confident are you? Are you picking the Bucks?
I am gonna pick the Bucks.
Oh, really? I don't know about this. What do you think? Give me a score.
The Bucks, I am gonna go. It is gonna be 27-19.
Oh, wow. You got the Bucks scoring 27 points. I don't know. I think your glasses may be too dark, Carmona. I'm gonna go with the Eagles for a similar reason. There's no way Baker Mayfield plays good for oh wait, no, he played bad last week. Did
Right.
he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so maybe he's good. Okay, I'll rethink this a little bit. But I'm gonna go the Eagles 21, Bucks 9. Like, it's gonna be a weird score that they get to. I think the Eagles can put together a win. I really do. I think this might be as far as they go, but I'm gonna say they can get past the Bucks. All right, we got 2 games tomorrow. I still don't know how I feel about 2 Monday games, especially one at 1:30 in the afternoon.
I like it.
Well, put it on. Put it on at work. Just leave it on mute at your workplace and keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
All right, Omar Carmona, that was super wildcard weekend with 2 games tomorrow. We learned a lot. We discussed a lot. We floated a couple conspiracy theories.
Yes, we did.
On to Monday. Feeling good. Sports were great. You named a lot of hockey players.
I can go on and on, Pat.
Thanks, Omar. See you next week.
Better, bud.
All right, that's the show. That's the Sunday night talk for the wildcard weekend. 2 games tomorrow. Like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon here on the West Coast. It's like a soap opera. Don't forget, if you want to see me doing live stand-up comedy, I will be at Flappers Comedy Club January 24th, 7:30. I will be at the Pueblo Brewery in Pasadena, California, February 7th. And February 17th, I'll be in Venice Beach, California. So come on out. Don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. We picked up a few new subscribers this week. I have a new interview I put up last week on the Running It Back feed with comedian Nate Welch. Go check it out. I appreciate your support. Well, that was the Sunday night talk for Wildcard Weekend. We took in a lot of football, 2 games tomorrow. I hope you figured out your strategy and how you're going to watch those games. Because I certainly haven't. I don't know what I'm going to do. Radio, phone, maybe I just come home and watch it. I don't know. I hope you've thought it out more than me. Here we go, folks. It's time for the playoffs. For me, Patrick Ramirez, and Omar Carmona, I will see you next week on the Sunday Night Talk.